Hey friends, it's Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, and I'm back with another Plan With Me video. This time I am planning out a self-care spread in my bullet journal in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. If you enjoy what you see here, please consider subscribing and becoming part of the Plant-Based Bride family. We would love to have you. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you will know when I upload a new video. And if you are returning, hey, welcome back. I'm happy to see you again. If you haven't seen any of my older videos, you may not know my personal history with mental health. I have made videos on the subject before, which I can link for you if you're interested in watching those videos and learning a little bit more about my history with mental health. I have a video going through my mental health story, and I also have a little series of videos on self-care. So all of those will be linked in the description box, and I will also link the self-care playlist in the cards. For those of you who are curious but don't want to go back and watch those old videos, I would say the simplest way to describe my history with mental health is that I have struggled with my mental health for as long as I can remember. It's kind of hard to talk about, and I don't want to go too far in detail in this video, but suffice to say, for as long as I can remember, I have struggled with not being able to handle my emotions. I've always been very sensitive, very emotional, in that I have had very strong emotional reactions to things, and I've always had trouble kind of managing that. I have always dealt with quite a bit of social anxiety and anxiety in general, and depression has been something that has been in my life for a long time. I also have a history of eating disorders, but luckily that is one of the aspects of my mental health that I am pretty far along on the path to recovery, which I am very grateful for. So my current mental health situation is that I am currently trying to manage my anxiety and depression, and I'm definitely doing better now than I have been doing in the past. I'm definitely doing better now than I even was a year ago, but I still have a long way to go. And I think that times like Mental Health Awareness Month and Bell Let's Talk Day and all of those sorts of events are great opportunities to really talk about mental health and try to break that stigma, because we all know that that stigma is intense and it can be scary to admit that you struggle with your mental health, even though so many people do. And if you're watching this video and you struggle with your mental health, even if it's in a completely different way than I do, you are not alone. Okay? You are not alone. So many people struggle with mental health, and it's okay. I know it doesn't feel okay, but it is okay. You are allowed to be you, and you're allowed to have the struggles that you have. Don't let anyone invalidate that. So in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I wanted to do a little spread on self-care to remind myself to continue to take care of myself. I'm getting better at incorporating self-care into my life, but I still tend to neglect my own self-care quite a bit, as I was reminded of a couple weeks ago when I had my first ever panic attack. And if you've ever had a panic attack, you know how terrifying they are. If you haven't, let me just tell you, you never want to experience that. It just is terrifying. And that experience reminded me that I really, really need to stay on top of my self-care. So I wanted to start my spread by writing out just a bunch of ideas for ways that I could practice self-care. So I split it into 4 categories: mind, body, heart, and soul. And I just wrote down basically everything that came to mind that can connect me to others or to myself, that can help to reduce stress or calm me down. Obviously, not all of the ideas will apply to your life, but maybe some of them will, and feel free to take any of them that work for you. Below that, I really wanted to honor Princess Leia in some way, as I talked about in my May Plan With Me video, which was a Star Wars theme. If you haven't seen that video, it will be linked in the cards and you can go watch it. But as I said in that video, Probably my favorite character from all of the Star Wars movies is Princess Leia. I think she is such a strong woman, and as I said in that video, she just really inspired me as a child and showed me a different kind of princess and a different kind of woman who could be very strong and sure of herself and respected for that. And on the next page, I decided to do another mood tracker. Again, if you saw my May Plan With Me video, I have a mood tracker in that setup as I do every month, and I usually do my moods and my sleep and sort of graph it out. Again, if you check out that video, you can see what I'm talking about. But I saw on Instagram someone do a mood tracker of a lightsaber, and I immediately loved it, and I of course saw it a couple days after I put up my video. And I just thought, oh my goodness, I missed out on such an amazing opportunity. I have to put this in my journal somewhere. I know I already have a mood tracker, but why not have two? You know, you can't track your moods too much, is what I always say. I've never said that before, but why not, right? You know, it's fine. So I decided to do this in my own journal, and I love it so much. So basically you assign a color to every mood that you want to track, and then each day you just color in the next little segment of the lightsaber, and by the end of the month you'll have a lightsaber with all of the colors of your moods, and I just think it's adorable. And then on the other side of the page, I have my gratitude log. And at different points in my life, I've been better and then worse at journaling gratitude, but I do find that when I am journaling my gratitude, I do feel better. So I just wanted to take a moment to explain how I'm doing this watercolor type effect. Basically, I take my Tombow Brush Pens, they're a water-based pen, and I just color them onto any kind of plastic. I usually use a page protector, and then I use my clear blending Tombow Brush Pen, which has no pigment to it, and I pick up the color that I want to use from the plastic, and then I apply it to the page, and that gives it a much more kind of washed out watercolor look. It sort of blends a lot more easily, it kind of fades a lot more easily, and I find that a lot better for blending the colors together and getting a softer look and being able to build up the color instead of starting with the full pigment and then trying to blend from there, which I have found tends to lead to bleeding through the paper more quickly than doing this technique. So that's our super quick rundown, but again, I'll link other videos where I've done this in the description box so that you can see me doing it in other videos and kind of going more into detail. If you want a video about this technique specifically, let me know in the comments below, because I can always make a little quick tutorial just talking about how to do this kind of watercoloring effect with Tombow brush pens. So back into the self-care mental health chat. I do want to say, as much as I think self-care is super important, and it really has been important for me in trying to improve my mental health, self-care isn't everything. Self-care won't solve everything. If you are feeling like self-care isn't enough, if you feel like you need more, if you're just struggling a lot, I highly, highly recommend therapy. Honestly, I recommend it even if you don't feel like you're struggling a lot, because I think everyone can benefit from therapy. I was very resistant to starting therapy for a long time, and thankfully my husband convinced me to try it. There are a lot of barriers to therapy for a lot of people. It can be very expensive. It can be very nerve-wracking and scary to open up and be vulnerable in front of a stranger. But if you find the right therapist, and if you can find one that is affordable and accessible to you, it is such an incredible tool, and it can really be life-changing. So some of my therapy history, I went to that first therapist. I probably saw her for about 6 months, but I found it was very, very stressful for me because it was very expensive. And I just found whenever I went in to see her and she would ask me, hey, how are you doing? Or what's on your mind? Money was always on my mind, because as soon as I walked into her office, the first thing I thought was, where am I going to get the money to pay for this? So that's actually the reason I stopped going to see this therapist. And I didn't go to therapy for a while, and I thought I was fine. And then after, a couple months, I realized that I still needed to be in therapy. I had a lot to still be working on, a lot to still be working through, and I still needed that support. But like I said, I just couldn't afford to see my previous therapist anymore. And that's when I found BetterHelp. I'm sure most of you have heard of BetterHelp, and this video is not sponsored, but I wanted to mention them because I personally have used them, and they really helped bridge the gap for me until I could find another in-person therapist who I connected to who was more affordable. So a quick rundown on BetterHelp. If you haven't heard of them before, it's essentially an online counseling service where members receive professional counseling, and you can do it on your computer, your phone, or your tablet. And it's pretty much whenever you need it, and you can be anywhere, and your counselor can also be anywhere, which is amazing, because sometimes a barrier to therapy for a lot of people is they just can't find a therapist they gel with. Therapists are people too, and we don't always get along with everybody. And if you can't find a therapist in your area that you can feel comfortable opening up to, then it can feel like, well, you just can't see a therapist. But this opens up a whole new world because it's opening the door to so many counselors and therapists. You can find someone that you gel with even if they live halfway around the globe, and they can be the person who supports you through what you're going through. And I think that's really incredible. You can choose to communicate with your counselor in messages or more of a live chat forum. You can also talk on the phone, or you can do video, sort of Skype style conferencing. All of those options are there for you, so you can decide how you feel comfortable connecting to your counselor. And one of the things I love most about BetterHelp is it is a lot more affordable than almost any therapist I have ever heard of, to be honest. Now, of course, I don't want to assume to know your life. That may still not be accessible to you, but it is definitely far more accessible than the vast majority of therapy and counseling options that are out there, which is one of the reasons why I really appreciate BetterHelp. That is why I decided to use them for months when I couldn't afford an in-person therapist, and I still plan on using them in the future anytime I am traveling outside of Toronto for an extended period of time and can't see my current therapist for that time, so that I can have someone to talk to when I need to. So I'll leave a link in the description box below if you're interested in trying out BetterHelp. Like I said, even if you don't have mental illness, even if you don't feel like you're struggling, I honestly think everyone can benefit from having someone to talk to who isn't your significant other or your best friend or your family. So I highly recommend, if you haven't been to therapy, that you either find a therapist near you or try out BetterHelp. It has made a huge difference in my life, and I think it'll make a huge difference in yours as well. For full transparency, that link in the description box is an affiliate link. So if you do sign up for BetterHelp through that link, I will get a small kickback from them, which will go directly into my own therapy fund. So you get therapy, I get therapy, we all get therapy. If you don't want to use my affiliate link, that is completely fine. If you just Google BetterHelp, they will be the first result. A quick caveat, you do have to be 18 years old to use BetterHelp. So I'm sorry if you're under 18, you won't be able to sign up for their service. And I think that is everything in this video. I kind of rambled on a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about me in this video. I hope you liked the spread. I would love to hear your experience with self-care, with mental health, with therapy in the comments below. Let's connect on that. Let's support each other. And let's really break that stigma, because mental health is just as important as physical health. I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye, folks.